For a very long time, the Evergoods CAP2 liters has been my favorite tech pouch. But there's a new contender in the room. Will this new pouch replace the Evergoods CAP2 liters as my favorite tech pouch? Alright, before we start this review, please excuse my voice. I got a little bit of a cold with a little bit of cough and a stuffy nose, so my voice might sound a little bit different than usual. So this is the review of the Sympl Motion Sling. And as the name implies, this is a sling bag. And as you can see, as well, this is very usable as a pouch. It is made out of Cordura Recore nylon with AquaGuard YKK zippers, meaning that all of your items inside will be very protected from the elements. But I can also see this being used as a dop kit, because if no liquid gets inside, obviously no liquid can get outside as well. But once we get inside, you might see it's not the perfect dop kit, but I just wanted to say you could use it as a dop kit. So why did I use this as a tech pouch and not as a sling bag, as the name implies? And as you can see here, it is, for my taste and purpose of a sling bag, it is a little bit too bulky and a little bit too squarish to carry it around. So I did not use it as a sling bag, and therefore I will not review it in this video as a sling bag, but rather as a tech pouch. So keep that in mind. You can use it as a sling bag with these loops, but I did not test it this way. First and foremost, let's go over the good things about this bag or this pouch. This is extremely well made. I do like the fabric a lot. I like the haptics of this bag. All of the zippers are stitched very well. It kind of reminds me somewhat to Peak Design's way of constructing things, but honestly, I kind of like this a little bit better than the Peak Design tech pouch from the outside. We will get to the inside in just a minute. What I also like about this is you have this carrying handle. So this would also be a very cool pouch as a boarding accessory. Let's say that way. Put all of the stuff that you need while you're on a long distance flight and carry this into the plane. Put your backpack in the overhead compartment or underneath your seat, and then use this to get to all of your stuff quickly while you are sitting down at your seat. You can then use carabiners maybe here and here to attach it to the back of the seat in front of you, and then have access to all of your stuff. I really like the logo of this. The font looks great, the coordinates. I kind of like this kind of styling of logos. So overall, this bag or this pouch looks amazing, and the build quality is great. Since you can use this as a sling bag, the back panel is a little bit, in big air quotes, padded. It's not really padded, but it is different than the front, because this will sit on your back. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 pockets overall. As I said, this can be used as a sling bag, so you have a somewhat, and again in air quotes, hidden back panel, meaning that this is a little bit more protected from potential pickpockets. So this would be a great place to store your passports, for instance, or a wallet that is not that thick, because here is not that much space once the main compartment is fully loaded. So this is only good for thinner items, as I said, like your passport, and to protect it from being pickpocketed. That being said, this is not an AquaGuard zipper, just to keep that in mind. Then you have a quick access compartment here in the front with a zipper garage and the YKK zipper. This is also for stuff that you want to access quickly, like your keys. You have a key leash here with a small carabiner, but just as the pocket in the back, this is not that spacious due to the, let's say, stiff fabric. There is not much flex or much give to the outside. So once that pocket is fully loaded, this front pocket becomes a little bit tighter. So if you have a bigger key or a bigger item, this could get a little bit cramped inside to get to that specific item fast. I use an Orbit key with a couple of keys in there. It is a little bit thicker. I can fit it inside, but as I said, it gets cramped once the compartment is filled up. Then you have two main compartments. As a heads up, I wanted to use this as a competitor to my favorite tech pouch, which is the Evergoods CAP2 liters. So I loaded it up with all of the same items that I usually keep in this. And then you will notice one big, in air quotes, flaw or something that I don't like about this bag that you will see in the end of this video. So stick around. Everything that I put into the Evergoods CAP2 liters is in this bag as well. So the same amount of items. And what I can say is already you can fit a bunch of items in here just as well as in the CAP2 liters. Maybe a little bit more, but that's not the point of this review, to which I will get in a second. So let's go over what I got in this first compartment. So this is the very first compartment. As you can tell, you have a bunch of slots with elastic bands to keep the items in place. Here's some more elastic compartments, slots, and the zippered pocket. I use these slots in the front for SSDs. These are the Samsung T5 and this is the SanDisk. I prefer the Samsung T5s, to be quite honest, but these look good actually. Then we have a bunch of cables that I always bring with me. So these are USB-A to USB-C cables, which I need for the SSDs. For those of you who don't know, I'm a freelance film editor and sometimes I need to work at a client's workstation and I prefer to bring all of my gear with me if they don't have stuff available. So having a couple of cables, even if they have some, it's good to be prepared. These are USB-C to USB-C cables. On this side, I made these green, so I know this is USB-C to USB-C, and the other ones are red, USB-A to USB-C. Keep them apart so I don't grab the wrong one. This is the Shark Geek Shark Disc. By the way, I will link some of the items in the description below. If you want to purchase any of these items, there will be links in the description. Those are affiliate links. With those you won't pay more, but you will support the channel with a small kickback of that sale. And if you do so, thank you very much for the little kickback. And then you have a zippered pocket here, which I use for smaller items like a flash drive, my pen for my Fold 5 phone, and here you can store other small items as well in here because there are some slots. That being said, I do not really like these kind of slots because with these cables it's okay, and with items that are a little bit thicker it does work, but I do not bother to put this flash drive in one of these slots because basically if you kind of rumble this around in your bag, these small items will jump out of these pockets anyway, so I do not like these. So I utilize this zippered pocket. Everything that is small that can fly around gets into this zippered pockets, but I do not need these kind of drop-in slots with most items. So then you can obviously put some stuff in here, put some stuff in here. So there is plenty of space to organize your stuff. Then you have a soft inner lining for this magnetized, it's not magnetized, the closing is magnetized, but you have a slot for a small iPad mini, for instance, that you can put in here. That is in my first compartment. So as you can see, plenty of space to organize your stuff. Then in the back here, I have again a bunch of cables. So in this slot, I have the AOHI 140 GAN charger. This is amazing because it has two USB-C outputs and one USB-A. So this can charge my phone, but more importantly, this can also charge my old MacBook Pro Retina 15-inch. So this is cool to have. Unfortunately, this is a US version, so I need to use this conversion plug. And I'm kind of jealous with most US plugs because you can just fold this away and then you have a square. If you have German plugs, you always end up with this huge prong. So yeah, it's really big and I would have loved to have a prong like this that I can fold away. Then I have a USB-C cable that belongs to this AOHI charger. I keep that in the first slot together with this German conversion plug. Then in the other slot, I have my mouse. This is the MX Master 2. I use the MX Master 3 on my desk, but as I said, I tend to bring everything that I need to the workstation of my client that I'm working on. And I do not like most keyboards and most mice that are provided to me at those workstations because many people work on them. Sometimes they're a little bit filthy, or you get a Apple Magic mouse, and I hate those. I prefer to have this, which is much more ergonomic. I bring my mechanical keyboard. Yeah, and that's why I bring everything that I need to work with in my tech pouch. And that's why most of my tech pouches are so full and stuffed. And because I bring my keyboard, sometimes I prefer to have it wired. So I bring the specific USB-A to USB-C cable for my keyboard. This is the Timber mechanical keyboard. There is a review in the info tab above. This has a recessed USB-C port. So I need the, in air quotes, proprietary USB-C cable to be able to connect it to this keyboard. Then you have a bunch of small slots, to which I get in a second. This would be good for cables, but honestly, most of the cables that I have, once I kind of fold them up like this, they do not fit this. I'm not sure what to use this for, and this will be in my negatives, to which I come in a second. Then you have another slot here which has also a magnet, and here I have a USB-A extension cable because I have this USB 3 hub with a USB-A port that I connect to the workstation that I'm working on, and this has the Logitech unifying receiver for my MX Master, but also I connect my keyboard to here. That way, I have everything onto one USB-A port because most workstations don't have much ports left, so I don't want to occupy 2 ports just for my mouse and my keyboard. And furthermore, this receiver for the mouse is so small and it's so easy to forget. So I always keep it on this USB 3 hub, so I won't ever forget it. So, and then just in case, I have my USB-C dongle with USB-A ports, HDMI, just in case if I want to use it either on my MacBook Pro or if I want to use it on my Samsung Fold 5, which is actually great for traveling. I plug this into my Fold 5, have an HDMI cable, put it to the hotel's TV, plug in my charging brick, and then I can watch Netflix in my hotel room via my Fold 5 phone instead of having to put in my credentials and my password into the hotel's TV. So that's my solution, how to keep myself entertained while I'm in the hotel. So that's why I always bring a USB-C hub. So that's everything that is in this compartment. Now getting to the negatives of this sling bag / tech pouch. As you can see, there are a lot of slots to organize all of your items. And I'm always saying the more slots a specific bag or pouch has, the more it will force you, in air quotes, to adapt to its packing style. And this is the best example. I have no idea how to utilize these. There is no item, obviously thinner items like a thumb drive, maybe shorter cables, meaning if they're shorter, being folded over means because they're shorter, they are not as thick and therefore might be able to fit in here. I don't know how to utilize this, and this is a prime example of a slot forcing you to kind of adapt to this organization. Then also, yeah, there's an abundance of slots and compartments in here, which then again means there's a lot of fabric and material being used that adds up quickly. So you have one layer, this basically acts as 2 layers, plus the small slots that we have inside, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers that are kind of pressed together, making the whole bag being thicker and being much more bulkier than it has to be to some degree. Obviously, many people like a lot of organization, but the more, as I said, the more organization you have, the more slots you have, the more fabrics you will need, the more stitching you will need, and therefore the bag becomes heavier, bulkier, and more cumbersome. And that is something I did not really like in practice, because although I have the same amount of items in here, the whole pouch feels much heavier than the Evergoods CAP2 liters. Plus, it is much more bulkier, as you can see here. It is way thicker than the Evergoods CAP2 liters, and therefore it just feels as if it would get in your way. Whenever I try to pack this in my backpack, it's just a huge brick. Obviously, I don't deny that this is huge as well, but these couple of centimeters in thickness, or maybe I would say it's about 2 centimeters thicker on the widest part, and a couple of millimeters maybe just shorter. The height is basically the same. Yeah, the height is the same. It's noticeable when you pack it that this is perceived as much more compact and therefore much easier to load in your backpack, especially considering this is the same amount of items that I have in a CAP2 liters. For me personally, I felt, okay, it is the same amount of stuff, but I have to pack so much more, or it takes much more away from the capacity of whichever backpack I'm using at that moment. So yeah, I do not like the bulkiness and the heft of this tech pouch, and it is all due to all of the slots and compartments inside this pouch. Also the not needed pouches. For instance, I do not need to put my 2 hubs in this organizational slot. I could just put them in here, but yeah, because it is here, I obviously store them inside, but I feel like this is not needed and adds to the bulk. And then these slots are too small for my personal needs. I don't utilize them. So this is for me wasted fabric, wasted space, and wasted extra grams. It's not much in terms of the grams number, of course, but still it is very noticeable that this is empty, a little feels heavier than the Evergoods. Again, I know a lot of people that love so much organization and utilize every single slots, which you can see from its competitor, the Peak Design tech pouch. Many people use that tech pouch. They love the organization. And to those people who love the Peak Design tech pouch, I believe that you would love this as well. And I would actually argue that you would kind of prefer this one, because for me, the Peak Design, all of the negatives that I mentioned here with it kind of forcing you to adapt your packing style holds true to the Peak Design as well, but the Peak Design has even more slots that kind of forces you. And yeah, I think this is a very good alternative. Also, this being a sling bag as well. You can carry the tech pouch from Peak Design as a sling bag. I know that with those extra things, but you have to buy those extra to utilize it as a sling bag. Here it is included. So you have much more multi-purpose use for this tech pouch and the sling bag. So I would argue that this is the better solution than the Peak Design tech pouch. Now, but what do I think? It's not for me. I think this is very well made. No, it's incredibly well made. The fabrics, the zippers, overall the choices of materials, how it is stitched up is amazing. I do not fault it at this. This gets high marks in terms of how it is made. The design is okay with all of the slots. It's just not for me. It's too much going on. It forces its packing style onto my packing style. It is too bulky. I perceive it as too heavy, especially once it's fully loaded, and it takes away too much of the volume of my backpack away, because it is maybe not by much, but still enough bigger than the Evergoods CAP2 liters. That is why this will not replace my Evergoods CAP2 liters. However, as I said, if you like a lot of organization, if you were considering the Peak Design tech pouch, the review you can actually see in the info tab above, then I would recommend to also take a look at this Sympl Motion Sling. I do believe that those are very good competitors to each other, and you might prefer this one. And again, very well made, just not for me, because it's too much going on, too heavy. So what are your thoughts about this kind of tech pouch? Do you prefer much more organization, or do you prefer a little bit more of simplicity to just throw everything into one pouch and not having to kind of organize everything? I think the Evergoods CAP is a good middle ground, but what do you think? Do you like more organization or less organization? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you have any more questions, also comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, click the like button. And don't forget to click the little bell icon so you won't miss the next videos. Again, please excuse my voice. I got a little bit of a cold. And also check out my Instagram, second channel, and podcast at You Know The Bow. Stay safe and especially healthy, everyone. And I'll see you in the next videos. Thank you very much.